What's going on, family and friends? This is Terrence Manning. I am your host, and this is My Thoughts Uncut. Today, we're going to talk about the Navy Yard in DC, how all these juveniles gathered and caused chaotic scene. There are multiple arrests, and now there's going to be a curfew. Let's take a look.
We have just learned that the mayor's office will now enact an emergency curfew in the district for anyone under 18. This comes after police say hundreds of teens got out of control in Navy Yard last night on Halloween, resulting in multiple arrests. Fox 5's Julie Donaldson is live now with the latest for us on all of this developing news. Julie.
Yes, Sydney. So the mayor enacting this emergency curfew is going to last for a few days. It's going to start at 11 p.m. and go until 6 a.m. It allows the chief of police to decide which zones they feel that they need to put this in place that's going to best serve the community. Of course, it comes after, though, the D.C. council members voted not to extend the emergency curfew that was in place over the summer, saying that they wanted more input from the community and that it unfairly targeted teens. Well, last night.
Why would you not have a curfew? It's been working. It's less crime, it's less incidents. Why would you be against teenagers having a curfew, especially in an area where when teenagers gather, crazy things happen, just like it did on Halloween?
It was the teens that got out of control. It was this park behind me that they started gathering around 7:30 p.m. But police noticed that it became hundreds of teens by 8 p.m. And while it started peaceful, it quickly got out of control.
We're terrified. We just like to, everyone wants to live in a place that's peaceful and we can just go out at any time and feel safe walking our animals and, saying hi to friends. But even tonight, I feel like most of us locals are not really even going out to celebrate Halloween because we're so scared just watching the news and seeing what happened yesterday.
Police say the fight started breaking out as the crowd spilled into the streets, blocking traffic, and they were ignoring orders to disperse. Now, that is when extra units were called in, including Metro Transit Police, U.S. Capitol Police, the National Guard, and members of the National Task Force. Now, the D.C. Police Union posted this message on social media, saying, quote, keep in mind, earlier this week, several D.C. council members argued that reinstating the juvenile curfew was inappropriate because it criminalized young people. Now, police saying 5 people were arrested, including 2 14-year-olds, a 15-year-old, a 16-year-old, and an 18-year-old who was carrying a prohibited.
Do you understand how backwards that sounds? We don't want them to be criminalized. Having a curfew is not saying they're a criminal. It's being responsible. And also, where are the parents? The parents need to be more involved and held accountable as well.
2 14-year-olds, a 15-year-old, a 16-year-old, and an 18-year-old who was carrying a prohibited weapon, being a knife. Additional arrests, they were made by Metro Transit Police, and an MPD sergeant was assaulted while trying to restore order. Now, while this order by the mayor is only for a few days, on Tuesday, the D.C. Council is expected to vote to revive the curfew zones that were in place over the summer. Now, the chief of police, Pamela Smith, she wants those curfews, she wants them put into place permanently, and believes that unfortunately, incidents last night might make that vote all the more likely.
It should. Now we're gonna take a look at another source. I like to get different sources.
We begin tonight with an emergency order now in effect in the district. Good evening, and thank you for joining us for News 4 at.
And stay tuned, because I got a video that shows you this was not just a one-off. This happened years ago too, but stay tuned.
11, I'm Mauricio Casillas. So this afternoon, Mayor Bowser announced the return of a citywide juvenile curfew and juvenile curfew zones. It all comes after the latest instance in what district leaders say was disorderly behavior by young people. Just take a look at your screen. This video shows a large gathering of teens in Navy Yard on Halloween night. Several teenagers were arrested. News 4's Dominic Moody has new information on the actions and district leaders' message to parents.
Yeah, the Bowser administration is taking these steps after those large crowds of young people was seen here in Navy Yard last night. This also includes the juvenile curfew and the juvenile curfew zone that will go on until Wednesday. And the Bowser administration says this is just one tool in the toolbox.
Cell phone footage capturing D.C.'s young people being chased by the National Guard and running through this Navy Yard park. This site is one of the reasons that led to Mayor Bowser announcing that starting tonight there will be a juvenile curfew and juvenile curfew zones citywide.
When I saw the video, I think I felt, like many people, deeply disappointed because when we work so hard to create environments for young people to have fun and for the message to be positive about our city, it really is disheartening.
D.C.'s deputy mayor for...
Listen, it's commendable you're trying to do that for the youth, but it's also the parents' fault too. These kids are raised in an environment where they think that they can go out and cause chaos out in the streets. So let's not forget about the parents. And yeah, that may be an uncomfortable conversation, but it's the truth. You can't just ignore the fact that these kids are out late at night just disrupting the neighborhoods and gathering and causing fights and fighting against the National Guard, pushing and shoving. This is not normal behavior for a teenager.
Public Safety Lindsay Appiah says the swift action was in direct response to the disruptive behavior on Halloween night and throughout the past 4 weeks. The action coming days before D.C.'s council is expected to vote on whether to grant Chief Pamela Smith the authority to implement juvenile curfew zones like what was in place this summer.
It's much like what you saw over the summer that helped us to curb some of the behavior that we were seeing and then stopped and have been seeing over the past several weeks.
D.C.'s citywide juvenile curfew, now in effect, includes all young people under the age of 18 years old.
Good.
Begins at 11 p.m. and goes until the next morning at 6 a.m.
Good.
And is expected to last until Wednesday at 11:59 p.m.
Good. Listen, when I was a teenager, and this is when I was still in high school, I was under 18. I was not out at 11 p.m. on a regular school night. On the weekend, okay, but I was in the mall. If I wasn't working, I was in the mall or at a friend's house. We're trying to get some ladies, but out in the streets, no. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah. The order also grants Chief Pamela Smith the authority to designate special juvenile curfew zones for those under 18 years old and starts at 6 p.m. Tonight's curfew zones include the U Street Corridor, Banneker Recreation Center, Navy Yard, and Union Station.
What the mayor's repeatedly said, parents, you need to know where your children are. Every place is not safe or a place for kids.
That's true. Now we're going to take a look at where this has happened years ago. Same kind of thing. Kids gathering around, causing chaos, and where are the parents? So we're going to take a look.
Another teen takeover last night. Right now at 6:30, people living in D.C.'s Navy Yard are voicing their frustrations after yet another teen takeover last night. It led to robberies and assaults, some of them even caught on camera. A similar takeover happened in late April, you might remember. Our John Duran talked to police and residents about why this is happening.
Sorry, this is earlier this year.
It's becoming common commotion at New Jersey and M Streets in Southwest.
Look at this.
You suddenly see 30 police cars.
Did you see that kid on the ground?
And just kids running like ants across the street, across a busy major, thoroughfare.
ANC Commissioner Edward Daniels says he saw around 200 teens during his walk home on M Street Saturday night, some making their way into apartment buildings and hotel lobbies.
We've got residents that are moving out, residents that don't feel comfortable living in Navy Yard anymore because of these kids that are getting into I'm talking into the properties, into the lounges.
I didn't know what happened.
Frank says he saw the commotion while visiting family.
My son moved here from New York, and seems like a nice area. He pays good rent up here. He's in a nice building. We're gonna stay away from this intersection. I don't know if it's this corner. I don't know if it's this train station. It's perilous right now.
This is particularly happening with young black youth in our city. Young black youth that already have stigma and stereotypes attached to them that are causing this chaos in our neighborhoods.
A source with MPD who was on the scene Saturday night tells me the teens robbed and assaulted people leaving an event at the bullpen. and that officers are hesitant to intervene and put their hands on a teen or child breaking the law. Daniels says the problem starts at home.
Bad parenting can't result in the community taking it upon themselves to discipline kids or, to be the guardians of these kids.
He's right.
And that's where we are.
A source with MPD says these meetups aren't happening by accident. They're getting organized on social media. That source says these teens are getting here by train. That source also says most of the teens are coming from Maryland. Daniels feels stricter policing is a quick solution that could get results.
It's horrible. It's horrible. And the police keep saying that we can't arrest ourselves out of this situation. You can.
A black man says
but
that.
Any kid that's
Wow.
16 years old committing an adult as though they're an adult, they need to be held accountable as an adult would.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, you see why Trump was so hell-bent on making DC safe, and by sending as many law enforcement agencies there and the National Guard there. And now why he is trying to change the law where 16 and older are actually could be fined as an adult when they commit criminal crimes. So for the people in DC that are DC is still safe, but now you have to do something about these juveniles. You got the adults out the way by making it safer, but now the juveniles think that they can do anything because they know that their friends and maybe even family members go to get arrested, spend maybe a day or two in jail, and get right back out because they don't charge them as adults. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell for all my other videos, and I see you next time. Peace.